We live in a time where pain is no longer the greatest enemy, but emptiness. That emptiness that we try to fill with anything that gives us a quick sense of pleasure. A phone, a short video, a game, food, music, or even thoughts we repeat unconsciously. At first, it seems innocent, just a small pleasure, a momentary escape from pressure, a short break from reality. But the question we rarely ask is, why do we lose the ability to enjoy after a while? And why does pleasure itself turn into a burden we need just to feel normal? Addiction does not start as a danger, but as a solution for stress, loneliness, boredom, or the feeling of meaninglessness. And here lies its true danger. The brain does not differentiate much between what saves you and what destroys you. It simply learns. When it finds something that gives it quick relief, it starts to associate it with survival, repeats it, then requests it, then depends on it. Over time, pleasure is no longer pleasure. It becomes a necessity just to avoid feeling bad. Neuroscience research indicates that the brain operates on a reward system where chemicals related to pleasure and motivation are released. The problem is not in the release itself, but in repeated, intense stimulation. When the brain receives easy and frequent rewards, it begins to lower its sensitivity. The result? The same thing that once gave you great happiness becomes ordinary, then weak, then insufficient. You demand more. Not because you want pleasure, but because you have lost the ability to feel it without that thing. And here comes the puzzling question. Is addiction a search for pleasure or an escape from pain? Many psychological studies lean toward the second answer. The addict does not seek to feel good as much as to avoid feeling bad. Addiction transforms from a desire into a compulsion, from a choice into a habit, from pleasure into a trap that makes a person repeat the same behavior, knowing it no longer gives what it once did. There is a theory known as the neural adaptation theory, which states that the brain adapts to any level of stimulation, no matter how strong. This means that fast, repeated happiness loses its value. This is why many people today feel numb, constantly bored, and as if nothing excites them like before. Not because the world has become less pleasurable, but because our brains are exhausted from excess. But the most important question, is addiction a lack of willpower? The clear scientific answer, no. Addiction is not a moral failure, but an acquired pattern. It is the result of interaction between the brain, the environment, and personal experience. When we reduce addiction to the idea of a weak person, we ignore the fact that any human, under certain circumstances, can fall into this trap. The difference is only in type, not in essence. What do we actually lose because of addiction? We lose sensitivity. We lose the ability to enjoy simple things. We lose patience. We lose the natural progression of pleasure. Everything becomes slow, boring, tasteless if it is not fast and intense. And here lies the painful paradox. The more we chase pleasure, the farther it moves away from us. Escaping the trap of addiction does not start with forceful prohibition, but with understanding. Understanding how the brain works, why we resort to this behavior, and what we are trying to compensate for. Some research suggests that reducing stimulation, not increasing it, is what restores the brain's balance. Silence, slowness, waiting, and even boredom are not enemies, but tools to regain sensation. In the end, addiction is not the story of people who lost control, but the story of humans who tried to feel something, only to end up unable to feel anything without a mediator. And the question that remains suspended is, do we have the courage to endure a little emptiness in order to regain our ability to experience true pleasure?